Did you know that Liechtenstein is the biggest producer of false teeth in the world? Funnily enough, I didn't know that either. Anyway, what is going on YouTube? My name is ConflctNerd Cal and welcome back to another episode of my city's Skylines Snowfall series, Principality of Liechtenstein. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue on the town of Balzers, which, yes, I'm probably pronouncing wrong to be honest. Balzers, I think it should be, but I can't really pronounce everything in a German accent without making it a full-on like German speaking series, which is something I kind of want to avoid. Anyway, aside from that, thank you just for the whole support on the series so far, like absolutely amazing. I cannot just believe how the reaction's been like. For my channel, the video's on 300 views in 48 hours, which for my channel, which at this current moment is under 500 subscribers, that is amazing. That is really amazing, so thank you to everyone for that. And today we're going to go ahead and hopefully complete Balzers and then maybe move on to, I want to start in the docks very soon actually. This is one area I want to go ahead and start building like an industrial plant. So first of all here, we're just going to, for the first few episodes anyway, we're going to go ahead and play off the demand. So the demand down the bottom here, we've got residential and commercial. One thing I want to do is go ahead and make a commercial area though. So I got a comment in the last episode saying build a Tesco's. That is something I definitely want to do, but in the last episode I went through all these different shops. So we have, for example, Matzlan, we have Boots, Argos. I want to go ahead and if I can try maybe make a whole wee retail park sort of thing, and that's what I'm going to try and attempt to do to start this episode off. So for this, to be fair, I really want actually just a pure straight roads. But I don't know where the best straight road is to do this. I'm just thinking I don't necessarily have to build it right in Balzers. But yeah, I think I will, to be honest. I think I'm going to build it on this segment here. I'm maybe going to de-zone some of this and actually build it in here. Then we can build more and more commercial as we go along. So as we know, I'm a beginner at this game, so do forgive me. I knew that was going to happen. I need to go ahead and very quickly de-zone this area here. If we can just go ahead and do that like so. So that works out for me. So that's that area de-zoned. So it gives me a bit of room to work with now. So if we go ahead and what I want to do is build a road up here like that. Now if I jump into, I need to go ahead and get myself a car park. So I have these car parks here, which I don't know if they're the best car parks, but I'm going to go ahead and deploy these anyway. And I kind of want to do it in some form of structural order, to be honest. So if we go ahead, and they're 6x3s, so probably want to start off with that like that, that like that, and then we're going to have another road. Whoa, not a roundabout, that's for sure. We're going to go ahead and grab another road and going to extend you a little bit up there for the time being. Then if we can go ahead and draw a road along there ideally. Then a little road down here. I'm not going to have a full road connection because again I don't want to have too many road connections meeting the main road, because obviously the more roads you have intersecting, then the more junctions, it tends to lead to more traffic. That's something that I found in other city builders. Might be a little bit different in this game, but I'll go ahead and just want to construct ourselves a nice little car parking area if we can, and then I just want to go ahead and draw a final road. Just extend this out a little bit here, and I just want to draw a road down here pretty much like so, and then in this final little space we should get a car park. So I think that's adequate car parking. Again, going back to the road issue which we were having, which was how easy can you see the road lines and markings? Not very well, unfortunately, and the same could be said for this car park here. Now for the time being I've gone ahead and I've changed the roads back actually to the default roads, just because I wasn't really feeling it too much. So I still don't know what I should do with the roads. Please tell me down below, should I stick with these roads or the roads in episode 1 which sort of had yellow lines and were more Americanized? I feel this is more like, I feel this is just a bit more natural. I don't really feel, I'm not used to like yellow markings on my roads, to be honest, so that's why I wanted to revert back to this. Anyway, now we've gone ahead and we've built all of this car parks here. Let's go ahead and actually build some shops, because that's really what I want to do. So we're just going to go ahead and litter this whole area here. So we're going to add in a Boots, going to add in an Argos there, then we're going to add in a DFS, which is a sofa shop I believe. Then here we have a Maplan, which sells everything under the bus, to be honest. Then we've got ourselves a home base, which is like a DIY store. Then what else have we got? The range, which I actually don't know what the range is, to be honest. We're going to build you in there, and then finally we have a Masslan, which is primarily a clothes seller I believe. So this is the retail part which we've created, which really doesn't look too bad, to be honest. Actually, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted to create. So as you can see here, hopefully I might have some car mods. Actually, I can go ahead and fill up these car parks, but they might go ahead and fill up, and it just looks like a modern retail park which you would get in the UK. Again, Liechtenstein might be totally different, but I'm liking this build so far anyway. Anyway, with that done, I want to go ahead, and I do need to go ahead and build more housing. I know I need to build more housing. I also want to build another outroad from this housing estate, really, because there's a lot of people living in there. Everyone in the map is living in there. All 1,400 people near enough are living there. So I want to go ahead and I just want to create a road which comes along here, and if we can very quickly just grab ourselves bendy roads and sort of link you into there like that, then I'm going to create an estate at this side of the road here. So I'll very quickly just change to the straight road tool for the time being, and then off of this we're just going to have a few streets, not many, but we are going to have a few streets just because there is room here. I realise people won't want to live up against the highway, motorway, whatever you want to call it. However, this is a game, so at the same time you have to sort of be, you know, I mean, it's not really that relevant, is it, in this game, if you live beside the highway or not. Anyway, I just want to construct a road along there which people can build some houses on, and then this is probably going to be a very, very small estate, to be honest. I then just want to maybe have another one which comes along here. We'll very quickly just change tools actually, and we will flip you around like so. Just have you come along here a little bit, and then we'll have you loop in like so. So there we go. So we can go ahead and get some more housing in here. First of all though, we'll need to go ahead, there's already water connections, which is good, that saves me a little bit of time. So again, we're just going to go for the light residential zoning, just because again, I don't really want any like skyscrapers or anything. This is supposed to be a village at the end of the day, and that's what I'm aiming for. And I'm going to go ahead and fill some, but not all of this in, because some of the plots are really not ideal for housing. So we'll go ahead and fill a few of you guys out. Again, I mean, people might not want to live up against the motorway. Personally, I wouldn't, so it's going to be interesting if people go ahead. I'm pretty sure they will fill up all the housing, to be honest, because that's how this game works. In Cities XXL, which was the other city builder series I've got on my channel, it did work like that. People just built anywhere, to be honest, just because there was such a high demand. It was really, really difficult. Anyway, I want to go ahead and just dezone 2 tiny wee tiles there, because I don't think that's ideal. And there is now houses building in this area, which is good to see. How's our shopping area doing? It's doing fine. I think I need to go ahead and place cars in with this area, because that will... I don't think this car park's going to populate itself. I probably should know this, and I know I should probably know this. However, I do have some assets which we can go ahead and play around with later. Anyway, this is filling out now. I need to go ahead and add in some parks. That's definitely something that I need to go ahead and do and just, I guess, improve our satisfaction for the citizens. So in here, I want to go ahead and add sports parks in, because I'm a real big fan of sports parks, and sort of have like a local football team, soccer team, all that sort of stuff. For the time being, it mainly is default stuff I've got here, but I easily want to go ahead and add some of this in. So first of all, whereabouts is the school? The school's along here. The school's on Main Street. Do we have a high school? I think we only have a grade school actually, so that is something which we can go ahead and consider. So this gap here beside the school is ideal for a tennis court, so I think we'll just go ahead and put one of them in there. Right now it looks like it has either snow or the covers on it, but we'll leave it for the time being, so that's going to help out, but I know we need to do a lot more than that. I also just want to make a nice green sort of area, to be honest. So we've got a lot of winter parks here which we can go ahead and choose from. We've got a skating rink which I think would be ideal. Again, most of this is going to go along Main Street because I think this is sort of just the community area if you think about it. I realise that really doesn't have that large a sphere of influence at all. So I maybe want to go ahead and put some stuff in the residential areas as well. So if we go ahead in here, we've just got some basic stuff like a snowman park which can easily go in. I'll probably just replace this house here, so that lightens up this part of the neighbourhood, and then if we jump up here, we'll just do another one, another basic one. Got a curling park, which curling is a relatively big sport in Scotland actually. We've also got some other buildings as well. What have we got here? Cross-country skiing park. That looks pretty cool. However, that's a lot bigger than I thought it was. I'll just go ahead and add in maybe a sledging hill, because I think that would be quite cool to have. And we go ahead and put this on Main Street here. So that goes ahead and provides some more happiness for our citizens. So that is done there. There's a little bit more commercial demand now with all this housing, so we'll go ahead and supply some of that. So again, we'll just go ahead and zone in just a little bit more along this main street here, like so, just maybe a few more units, maybe 4 more units for the time being. Want to go ahead and dezone those 2 there as well, because there's no need for that. And this area is pretty much all good, to be honest. I'm really happy with how this village has came about. I need to go ahead and extend the zoning now, though. That is something which I need to do. And what I mean by that is this, you know, go ahead and just expand what the town boundaries or the paint district. That's what I need to go ahead and do. Again, not really caring too much in detail about the exact borders. I don't want to hit the highway. I know I don't want to do that, so I'll come back and I'll edit that in a little second, and then we can just go ahead and zone in that. Now if I very quickly just go ahead and tidy this a little bit up here, because I know if I put a policy on it, I don't want it to affect the highway as well, because that could just cause many problems. But our town has expanded quite a bit there, which is what I wanted to do at the start of this episode. Anyway, what I want to do is I want to jump away from here, because even though we've not still got a lot going on in our map, I want to go ahead and start laying some framework, which I realise that's a very computer term, but it's basically like the foundations of the port area. I basically want to go ahead and pre-build the port right now, because we've got unlimited money on. We don't really need to worry about any of that sort of stuff. I just want to go ahead and make sure I don't forget about it. That is the real thing. So here we've got a harbour, which I'm not really going to get much use out of. It's really the cargo harbour is what I'm wanting to go ahead and use. Maybe 1 or 2 of them anyway. So we're going to go ahead and I think we'll just start off with the 1, to be honest. I can't imagine it getting too much use, but I might be totally wrong in that. I want to go ahead and create an efficient one-way system, and also want to just create an industrial hub in and around this area. So what we'll do is we've got this road here and we've got this cargo harbour, which we'll need to get connected up to the grid in a second, but I'm just going to go ahead and extend the road out like so. And I've got an idea. I'm probably going to create this whole section a one-way section eventually, actually. So that works like that, no problem. Then, because this is going to be a industrial area, I maybe want to go ahead, I want to double up all the roads. I wouldn't mind doubling up all the roads along here, to be honest, because I think that would work out for our situation. So what I want to do is I want to have like a doubled up road coming along here, like that. And then what will happen with you is you will come up to here. You'll maybe have a sharp turn. I'm not the fan of sharp turns, to be honest, but that looks perpendicular. Actually, we'll maybe just build you at a right angle actually instead. So that works out like that, and you'll come along to the harbour here, and then we'll have maybe a road running along the bottom of the map as well. Just along here. And this is eventually, we're probably going to eventually fill most of this area out, to be honest, with industrial as time goes on. But that is that road created. I just need to go ahead and make this small connection now for the rest of this road here. So you should just be able to connect in pretty easily, to be honest, actually. All those spaces already occupied. Again, I thought I had the mod on, but I don't. Fine road junctions, I believe the mod is, so I need to go ahead, I'll go ahead and temporarily do that, which that is not pretty, and I know it's not pretty. I'm going to go ahead and possibly redo this actually. Once I go ahead and activate that mod, which I'll do for the next episode, I've got a few different mods now which I've got in place to go ahead. That actually doesn't look too bad right now. I've got a few mods which I'm going to go ahead and apply. I've got the search box mod, and 1 or 2 other things which will help me out as I go on. Again, your suggestions are always recommended. Anyway, so that works out, it looks quite natural there, so we'll go ahead and connect you up to the grid. So again, we'll get ourselves some warm pipes, and you guys will come from over here, and we'll build you just up the river here. And again, going forward, we've got so much heating and water available right now, we don't have to worry about that. So again, I just want to start off basically building a grid system here to go ahead and, I guess, build for the future, because I mean, we've not got any industrial demand yet, and I can't see us having any industrial demand for a while, but when we do anyway, we will be ready for that. So I've gone ahead and built that in there, which is fine. The next issue though is power, which is one which we can go ahead and solve quite easily. So I'm just going to have a row of pylons coming along the bottom here, and then you're going to jump into there. So that should be, the port can now be used, the port can now go up and running. However, I don't, as I said, no, there won't really be much need. Plus all these roads need ploughed, so I think it's maybe time to go ahead and grab myself another snow dump. So we'll go ahead and grab one of yous, and we'll stick you along there, and then hopefully it will deploy some of its snow ploughs to clean up these roads, because they're not looking ideal, that is for sure. Anyway, we're going to move back on. I realised I didn't rename the map as well. Someone told me to go ahead, and I thought it was a really good idea. Name the map after the German name, which is like... It's some word beginning with F, which means principality in German, then Liechtenstein, which I have got my pronunciation correct, which is good. I'm glad to hear it. I wanted to make sure that I got a lot of the fundamentals of the series right, you know. So that's why I did some research into this country and I guess the city, just because I wanted to go ahead and make sure I was getting my facts right. Anyway, what's going on here? So we've got a lot of uneducated workers, but we need more educated workers. So I'm getting the feeling that we need to go ahead and build this place a high school because it's just going to be necessary. Where is the high school going to go though? That's the thing, because this main street is pretty full, I'm not going to lie. What I'm probably going to go ahead and do is actually move the pylon back a little bit. So I'm very quickly just going to pause this game. We're then going to go ahead and delete this pylon, which I believe is the only electricity connection right now into the town. Then if we jump back into here, I want to go ahead and do a pylon right along the back here. So we've just got that more freedom along the road. However, the railway line is there, which that's going to cause me a bit of a problem. So that's really not going to solve my problem at all, actually. We need a high school. Where are we going to get a high school built in here? That is the real problem. So we jump in here. What high schools have we got? We've got the modern default high school, which can fit in there actually. Really not a practical location, but it will do. If that's a high school, is that definitely a grade school? Yeah, that is definitely a grade school, so that works. It can hold 3,000 students at a grade school. Like, the limit in Scotland is like 500. That is just insane. This is an elementary school. Yeah, I was thinking something was wrong there, because they look very, very similar. We'll jump back into here and let's go ahead and actually just get the default high school, to be honest, before anything just gets a little bit more confusing. You're going to destroy a house, but it looks like it's going to have to happen. This really isn't an ideal place, because I would ideally like playing fields, I would like multiple different things, but I think we're just missing that education gap, to be honest. So that should hopefully go ahead and solve that issue. Again, yeah, it looks like people are just complaining over the education issue, but also these companies are wanting more jobs, and that means they need more people, and for that they need more housing. So whereabouts are we going to put in more housing? I don't really know, to be honest, because we've sort of filled out this area of the map. We could put some maybe in behind these shops here, but the road access wouldn't be the best. But I think we should be able to go ahead and put a small road in here. Right up here. Oh, we can. I'm going to go ahead and actually delete this building here. I do apologise, and then I'm going to build a road just coming right down. I can't do that. I can do that though, so that would work out no problem. So just a small road. This is going to be a very, very small housing estate. Very quickly just going to go ahead and grab my D-zone tool and D-zone those two small bits of land there. Then from here I'm just going to have some basic roads coming off. So we're just going to have a small road coming off there. We'll have another small road coming off up to about there. That's really not created ideal plots at all, but I'm sure we'll go ahead and we'll make that work. And then I just want to go ahead and have a small street going along the back there, and we can maybe get one final one actually coming off here. So this is probably going to be quite a busy junction, to be honest, but that works. So we'll continue on with the game, and I do apologise if one of my commentary is a bit all over the place. I'm ill right now, I'm not that badly ill, but I've just not had a lot of time recently to go ahead and pre-record. I usually have episodes pre-recorded in advance quite a bit, whereas I don't right now just because it's a new series. So I do apologise if I sound a bit rough, if there's a lot of cuts in the commentary, just because I need to keep sneezing. That's the bottom line. It's really, really frustrating, but that is what's honestly happening. Anyway, that is some more housing provided. Most of you should be already in the water grid, but I'm just going to have to go ahead and extend a tiny little bit, which we can do along to there, and that is the problem solved. So that should hopefully go ahead and just create more natural housing estates. I really didn't want to go for the grid effect ever. That's really what I didn't want to go for, and I think I've achieved that anyway. Looks like we're getting some issues in here as well, so we're getting abandoned buildings, which is kind of unfortunate. That should automatically delete though with a mod I've got on, which is good. Bar that though, I'm pretty happy with how this place is going. I think we just need to go ahead and long term build more housing, which is what I'm going to do. This village though, for the time being, I'm quite happy with it. It's sort of complete and I like it the way it is. I don't want to extend it all the way along this road, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it and we're going to start on another village, because that is really what I want to go ahead and do, just start off with a collection of villages. So with that village done, I want to move up here and I want to build a village halfway along this road, not connected up to Balzers, but to build an own village, which maybe doesn't have its own high school. Maybe you have to commute to go, for example, to some jobs and all that sort of stuff, but I want to have a connection which is a little bit different. So we're going to go ahead and use this road sort of as the main road again. I want to eventually build its own railway station, so I guess there will be some form of connection up to this line here, because eventually, like, whenever we have quite a few towns, I want to have a stop here, then it's going to come along and it's going to stop at this little village we're about to create here, then it's going to come all the way into a more central station here, which we're going to build up a larger town here as well as we go on. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and basically just going to start doing a lot of building. So first of all, we're going to need a power connection for this area, and I think the best thing for me to do is take the power from a further up here. So we go ahead and grab our power tool, and I just want to build a power line basically adjacent to the railway line and then into there. And this is basically, this town is not really going to have too many services, it's mainly just going to be a residential area with a little bit of commercial. Not too much, but a little bit. It's mainly just going to be houses, that's all it's going to be. So again, we're going to go not for the grid pattern, more just a random spiral sort of pattern, and we're going to go ahead and build a straight road to start off with. I think that's just the best to work with. And then we'll build you quite a bit out actually, and then you should start to spiral off. And then I want to go ahead and create a road which goes pretty much up to a station there. That's really what I want. We can see a lot of trains on the move. Obviously these aren't ours, these are other trains, which I've not even touched trains yet to be honest, so they definitely are not mine. But with this, I want to go ahead, I just want to build. That's really what we need to do. I need to stop blabbing and I need to start building. So let's go ahead and again just build some windy roads. That's really what I'm aiming for here. So we'll go ahead and do that. In a sense, I just want to create sort of like a tree effect. That's really what I want to go ahead and do, and just allow for a natural build. That's really what I'm aiming for in the series. So as you can see, I'm building a lot of these roads perpendicular. I'm not building everything claustrophobically together because there's just no need for that at all. I get a feeling there's going to be quite a bit of traffic being caused by this build, so I'm gonna maybe have to go ahead and upgrade roads over time. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and build a straight segment there because there's no really need for a bendy one. On top of that, let's go ahead and just fill the rest of this out very quickly. So here we have it, here we have the start of the build. One thing I do want to do though is make sure I don't have any houses being built on that section, the entry section, because that's not ideal. The reason I'm going to go ahead and do something different here is because I want to go ahead and build like sports and parks around the housing estate, and not, that's why I'm not having it so compact, because I feel that's something that we sort of lacked in Balzers. I just want to go ahead and make sure that everyone has access to sports facilities, because I think that would just be a much better thing to have. And I could see Liechtenstein being a very, what would you say, like active country, one that very much promotes sports and is not a like sit indoors and be lazy and be a fat country. I really can't see Liechtenstein being like that. Again, I might be totally wrong, but if it's very like Switzerland and they're very active, they're fit and healthy, and it's all about health for them, good diets, a lot of sports, a lot of exercising, and Liechtenstein, I'm sure it is like that. Anyway, that's me going ahead and zoned so much housing. The problem is they probably don't have power right now, so I'll go ahead and extend you over to here. But you now have power and water, so we'll maybe start to see some of this area fill up. As we can see, there is some building going on over here. Don't really know why, because I believe you won't have power until houses start building over here. But we're starting to see some industrial demand, which is something I was wanting to see. Before we go ahead and finish stuff up though, I want to go ahead and build a few different parks here. One thing I want to do is go ahead and get myself a college soccer stadium, I believe this is called. Really, it is just a football pitch in my language. So if we go ahead and, I say my language like it's a different language, it's the same language, it's obviously just that little bit different with American English and British English, that sort of stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and build this at the entrance. I can't really build it there though. This is going to be interesting. Where am I going to be able to build this? I'm going to build this in Here, I just want it to feel like a village soccer team. That's really what I want to have it. So again, it's got snow on it right now. That's really what I want the field to be. Every village has like a sports team, a soccer team, or at least a soccer field which they can play multiple sports on, because that's what I find it is like that in this country, to be honest. Like, back in my homelands or my home county where I stay, there's a lot of like villages, for example, and all these villages, they all have like their own like Sunday league teams, and they all have their own, you know, they have a few pitches, and that's really what not the community evolves around, but a lot of people who enjoy sports anyway, they are involved in that, if you get what I mean. So it's something which I want to go ahead and recreate in this map, just promote sports activities. Anyway, we're having lots of issues with electricity and with water, which is what I was expecting. I should have probably gone ahead and zoned this area down the bottom first and gradually moved up the top, because this area all doesn't have power, but I built power lines to this area, so that's kind of frustrating. The next thing I do want to do is go ahead and build some paths though. So if we go ahead and jump into here and we grab ourselves some pavements, I basically just want to connect up all these street ends. That's what I want to do, just so there's not too much pressure on the main road. That really doesn't look too elegant, but it will do for the time being. We'll go ahead and also add in another one along here. It's really difficult to build paths, but I mean, you just see that edge is just not very nice. I know it's not just me, I know it's just part of the game, but it's just, it could be a lot smoother if you understand what I mean. But that is that end built there. I want to do the same up this end here. It's maybe not going to be as easy, however. So I want to go ahead and just build a basic path which goes from there to there. Then we're going to go ahead and grab the bendy path tool and we're going to curve along here. And that is going to be a very, very, very sharp corner, in fact. So if we go ahead, and it is going to have to be a sharp corner, we'll build you into about there if we can. I want to turn snapping off very quickly, actually. I realise that I have skipped some of this, but some of it is fundamental to the game. So there's parts which I'm going to skip, there's parts that I'm going to leave in. For me, it's going to take a few episodes to find a balance of what I should skip and what I should, you know, include on camera, because building paths probably isn't the most enjoyable thing, to be honest, to see me build, but it's something which really, really does need to be done in this map. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just build one or two more just basic ones. Like so, just connecting up a basic connection there, and we'll also have maybe a basic connection going up to here as well. Not trying to destroy too much housing, but I'm going to have to go ahead and sort of have an extra power line, unfortunately, come... Oh, this is annoying. I really don't want to have a power line going through the housing estate, if you know what I mean, so we'll have one just come around the edge, I think. Again, I really don't like power lines because they're just an eyesore. They're not pretty. They're really not pretty on the landscape, but that should be you connected up with power now. And I'm going to have to create a police and a fire station anyway along here, just because the coverage, just because things aren't going to work out, and I'm not going to be able to solve all these issues from Balzers. So as we can see here, we've got a bit of complaints here. We've also jail capacity. That's interesting. That's something which I didn't really consider. Fire coverage in general along here isn't very good either, so we need to go ahead and basically just build this area a police and a fire station. So essentially this is going to become, ignore sort of what I said, it is basically just going to become its own little village with its own services. It's not going to have as much services though, I think, as Balzers will. I think people should have to travel to Balzers to some of the, for example, commercial stuff there, because it's got some good commercial areas. Anyway, let's go ahead and build just a basic police station, a basic fire station. We're going to build a grade school, not a high school, and also want to go ahead and build ourselves a clinic as well. Again, we've still not got hospital on the map, but there's no real need. We built a graveyard along in Balzers, so I think we'll maybe build a crematorium for this town here. Then we'll go ahead and a sauna, I think that's a bit unnecessary. Crematorium, a garden, again not really needed. Then we're just going to go ahead and maybe build a basic elementary school in this town. Nothing too spectacular, so that can hold 300 students, which that works out for me, no problem. So with that built, everything in this town is basically good to go. All it needs to do is go ahead and grow. We are starting to get some commercial demands, which I am seeing. I do want to go ahead though and reroute this power line, I think. If you guys have made a connection now, so if I go ahead and I build you into there instead, then I can go ahead and get rid of this segment here. Then I'm going to build some commercial along this main road. Literally everything I'm saying is just not working out this episode. We're going to have some commercial along here. I don't want as much, but that's the demand we've got right now, so we really need to go ahead and meet the demand. So if we go ahead and we just pipe in this extra area here, then that works out. I really need to go ahead and probably build our station as well, and I do want to get some public transport, probably some buses started in this episode as well, especially as the industrial demand starts to climb. So it's medium demand for industry or offices, so if it's going to be heavy industry, then that's going to come down at this area here. If it's more going to be on the sides of offices, then I'm happy to go ahead and build offices in either of these towns. Anyway, I'm just going to speed the game up because right now we're just sort of waiting on a little bit of building to happening, and I just need to see what is required of me. One thing I do want to go ahead and make sure is that, yeah, it's all uneducated workers right now. I do feel it's a bit early to build a university. I know we have that unlimited money, but there's really just no need, to be honest, so I really don't want to build that university, that's the bottom line. How are we doing the high school here? It's nearly at 1,000 students actually, so this new town we're building is probably going to have to get its own high school. This elementary school, I don't like it because it can hold 30,000 students, which is unrealistic for an elementary school. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to replace it with a smaller 300 one, and I think that would just be better. The problem is it's not going to fit in there. It would fit in here though, and that's where I think I'm going to build it. This is really not a good road for it to be on, but it's going to go in there anyway. That's going to fill up straight away because that's basically replaced the old elementary school. Maybe this village needs 2 elementary schools, that's the bottom line. So if we go ahead and play this through, I just want to see how quickly this fills up. So elementary students in the city, how many is there? And how many is there in Balzers specifically? Because right now if this school overflows, which it looks like it maybe is, then they're going to have to go all the way along to this elementary school, which is located here, which is filling up pretty quickly, as is this whole area though, to be honest, which is what I'm wanting. If we jump back along here though and check out this elementary school, then, you know, it's teetering to be honest, but it looks like it's doing an okay job. Anyway, let's go along here. I need help naming this town. There's a few towns in Liechtenstein which I'm going to go ahead and use later on in the series, but not right now. So, if you've got any suggestions, then go ahead and please leave them down in the comment section below. I could go ahead and try and pick a name, but I think I prefer it when other people help out, you know. I think it's good for audience interaction, so that's what I'm going to need. Anyway, I realise this is actually a mess of a district. Actually a mess of a district. I'm just going to paint it in. Right now, it is called something Rose Hill. What is it called? Barrier Rose Hill. That is a name I don't like. For the time being, I'm just going to call it Rose Hills. I don't mind that too much, but again, I want that to change. So if you've got any better suggestions, then leave them down in the comment section below. Anyway, this place is hustling and bustling. Again, we're just going to go ahead and add in a few more commercial lots. That commercial lot there is way too big. I'm going to go ahead and tone this down a little bit, like so, and then I'm going to go ahead and zone part of that longer stretch as well. And this really just means that our industrial demand is up. That's the bottom line, and that's something that I want, because I want to go ahead and start to focus on that part of the map for the end of this episode. As the rest of this fills in, we're going to go ahead and jump over there, and then in the next episode at the start, I think we're going to go ahead and start off by working on some transport, because I think that's what we're going to need. As we start to get to closer to 5,000 population, maybe 1 or 2 basic buses will be required. Anyway, this snow depot now, or snow dump, snow depot, whatever, now has power, so it looks like all the trucks are out and about, and they will hopefully go ahead and clear up these roads in and around here, which is good. So for this, before we go ahead and do any building in this area, I want to go ahead and make sure that it has got a lot of parks in it, and the reason is because I want a green industrial area. Heavy industry is going to cause me a lot of pollution. That's why it's sort of cornered away with this natural barrier. Going back to what I was talking about, this hill is a natural barrier here, which I really like. However, for this to be successful, I still want to go ahead and have some green parks in here, just because I don't want it to be the standard old awful industrial area. That's the bottom line. Right now, as we can see, this harbour is getting absolutely no use, but I'm not expecting it to, just because there's no need, but I want it to have a purpose going forwards. So as I said, parks. Now, Obviously, I don't want to go ahead and maybe have a relevant snow park because that's not really going to work out. Snowman park, it's not really going to be a family area, to be honest. I just want a basic green park. That's really what I want. Something like this, not a playground, park with trees. That is really what I want. Now, I don't know if this is going to work with Snowfall, to be honest. Hopefully it will. I just want to go ahead and maybe put 3 of these in a row or something and make this... That doesn't really look that nice though, does it? No, it really doesn't. Let's go ahead and just delete you and delete you, and you know what, we'll restart this whole thing actually. So we jump back into here, park with trees, we'll add you at the... Actually, we will make you the centerpiece, but down here in the corner. So that works out, that looks not too bad there, and then we'll just build roads around this. So for the time being, I think I'm going to start... I don't know if this is a good idea, but I'm going to have... 2-lane roads. I think that's the best thing to do just because I want to avoid traffic problems going forward. So we're going to go ahead and segment a very, very large area here, and we're going to build some basic industrial zoning. Some very basic industrial zoning for the time being. So I just want to have maybe a section like that. So not too big a section. The bar is full right now, which is good, bad, don't really know. But this will do to start with, and again, we'll just play around with the demand and see how things go. So there is some factories starting off here. I want to see the different kinds of factories. So that's a box factory we've got in here. We've got ready to wear limited have set up. Garments limited have set up. We've got another box factory. It looks like literally all the same companies. We've got an ice cube factory. That's kind of interesting. This here is, that's more just a storage area, to be honest. I do have a lot of different crate assets which we can go ahead and add in as well, which is something I want to do to end this episode, maybe to just make it look a little bit more like a port. So if we jump into here, we do have some different kinds of container stacks which I think would be pretty cool to add in. Now I realise that for this prop and tree anarchy, all that sort of stuff, I just want to go ahead and I guess detail this area a little bit more and see what else I've got here. So I've got quite a lot of large packs, to be honest, which I want to go ahead and maybe just go ahead and add some containers in here as things go on and play around with a few different assets and props which I have got myself. I realised that was sort of the totally wrong thing I built there, so I've just gone ahead and built some of these 4x4 storage units, and as things go on, again, I'm new to this game, so I'm not going to be that good at detailing. I'm not really at all sure how to detail, but we'll maybe go ahead and try and do a little bit of detailing in the next episode if possible. 1 or 2 cargo ships have now turned up, and because we have this basic industry in here, you can already see the pollution, to be honest. Things are starting to kick off in this industry, which is good. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave things here, so hope you have enjoyed this episode. Please leave a like, rate and subscribe if you are new around here. There are some links on screen to other videos, and if you've not subscribed, go ahead and do so. If you've got any tips for me, go ahead and leave them down below. Again, I'm new at this game, I'm not very good at it if you cannot tell, so give me patience, give me tips, give me help instead of just slagging me off. Anyway, that's all for this episode. My name is ConflctNerd Callum, and I'm out.